Hello and welcome. My name is Jill Crosby, and I'm the owner and founder of the Conscious Dating Network, which is comprised of many sites, including Spiritual Singles and Green Singles and Conscious Singles and many others. And we are here today to interview one of our success stories. And yay! And this is my first interview, so bear with me. So we'll see how this goes. But I'd like to introduce Joy and Gavin, who met on Spiritual Singles. Hi, guys.
Hey, Jill.
Pleasure to be here, and let's see what we have to share.
I'm so excited. It's great. Thank you for doing this and being here for our members, because it will, my goal is for this to inspire and coach and teach others what works and that it does work, because we have,
It works.
yeah, I mean, 24 years in business, and we have thousands of success stories. And you guys are the first success story that I've interviewed. I finally got the brilliant idea of, interview
Good
success
idea.
stories.
Good
Right.
idea.
Let's
Yeah.
help other people. So okay, so we are doing this interview. It is April 30th, 2024, when we're interviewing. And how long ago did you meet? Like online, on the website, and who contacted whom first?
A little more than 11 months ago, we met.
Okay.
On May 27th, I saw Joy's profile, and I had to use a trick, Jill. I didn't look at what was given to me as a suggestion based on my criteria. I actually went with who's online now, because that gives me access to people that aren't necessary. And there was Joy. So on May 27th, I looked at her profile and I learned all about her. And then I wrote her, and I wrote something in depth. I was really taken by her, and I spent a good deal of time writing her about how moved I was by who she was.
Wow, that's nice. So, because I see people online, and so on the site, there's the who's online when you first log in that you can see.
Right.
And there's also matches and searching. So there's different ways to connect with. And when he wrote you, Joy, I think you were fairly new to the site, weren't you?
Oh, I was a month onto the site, and I had never searched anyone. I had a prayer. I actually had a knowing. I felt very nudged to get on your site, Jill. We've been friends for years, and I know how many success stories there are. And I was really clear that I was ready. About a year ago, it was the end of April. And so I got on early in May and received a few different beautiful messages from different men. And then came Gavin. And when I received that one, I felt something I had not felt yet, which was really somatic. It was visceral. It was an instant attraction to the consciousness that he was offering me in what he wrote. It was like very poetic and honest, and he was intrigued and very inviting. So of course I went onto his profile, and I got butterflies in my stomach.
Really?
No, it felt really good.
Reading his profile,
it felt really good, but it also felt so familiar. And I mean, Jill, you've watched us and you can see, I mean, we're working together now. We do similar work in professional and spiritual development. And so there was so much in terms of values and lifestyle and what he was looking for and what I was looking for that was like a big, brilliant match. But we did not live that close to each other.
Yeah, I lived, Jill, in Lake Stevens, which is about 25 miles north of Seattle. And, and Joy is living here in Mount Shasta, where I now live. We're together. But at the time, I started reaching out to those who were not near me. And I would say something like, it finally occurred to me that my partner that's a match for my prayer may not necessarily live next door. I may need to open up the net wider. I mean, at times I dated. She was 1 month in, Jill. I was 4 years dating, looking for the right person. And I got more selective the farther I went along. I would write less, but when I was moved, I was really moved. And, but I said, because I didn't want her to get turned off because I was so far away. I said, look, compatibility in chemistry can open up wondrous possibilities. So let's see. She didn't let that distance daunt her at all.
Well, and both of us had put on the profile, we were willing to relocate because we are, we work remote, we work online primarily. So that was an opportunity and an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I can't tell you, hearing those words is so beautiful for me because I have written countless emails to members, like my, newsletter type emails for 24 years. And I always tell people, your soulmate might not live around the corner. They might live in another state or even another country. So be open-minded about that. It's one of the most important things because Spiritual Singles is a niche dating site.
Yeah.
It is.
Right? So we don't have millions of members. We're in the hundreds of thousands, not millions. So it's a big difference. But everybody is spiritual or conscious or green. They're all in that same genre. So I think that's really important, a good distinction to make there, Gavin, and that Joy, you are open to that. And like, all right, so he lives in Washington, who cares? Like, I'm open to that. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Well, and the unique niche of your site is reflected also in the questions. It's like I was learning things about what I really wanted to learn about because I've been spiritual since I was 25. That was foundational. And then I sent her my website when I first wrote to her, my website address, and she sent me hers. And then we had a chance to dive in to each other's. We both have videos, we both have photos, we both share very openly. So there's a chance to really get to know quite a lot about someone right out of the chute and then begin to exchange energetically.
I love it.
We had such a lovely writing courtship for, it was almost 2 weeks before we had our first Zoom date.
Really? That long?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But it went fast after that, but it was like
That's
10
interesting.
pals. It was really just delightful to express through words. And even in doing the profile, I also just loved the questions. And I remember when I did the profile, I went deep into what is real. I mean, I'm in my 50s. I know what I want, and I'm going to be honest enough with myself this time around because I've been in other relationships that were 8 years and 6 years and had been married before, and beautiful men, but didn't really match the truth of what I really, really wanted. So I dared to put on my profile that I was looking for a man who loved his work, that had flexibility in, his lifestyle to be able to live anywhere or travel, and that was involved in spirituality and had a purpose that made a difference on the planet. And I also had a prayer to be with a man who brought more of my feminine out, because I, like a lot of women I know these days who are independent and entrepreneurial or professionally minded, it's really nice to have that quality come in. So I actually started practicing receiving before I met Gavin. So the energetic level, I would talk to him, I would talk to my partner, and I would just relax, and I would just like be more in a receptive kind of frequency, which it's easy to tap into if we want, and I wanted it. And Gavin showed up.
Back up. Give me an example of that, because let's hear it. Like, what would you say to yourself?
Well, I remember saying to him,
okay,
or your
my beloved
partners that you have in your prayers.
Talking to him a lot come spring, come April. But I remember distinctly in February, like feeling that presence and saying, honey, I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready. Thank you for waiting. So that's a receiving, because I knew there was more healing I had to do. There was a process I was going through, a letting go process and a transformation in my work that took some time. But then the practice of receiving, oh, everything from, I mean, I love nature. I know you do too, but to like actually receive the air on my skin when I'm out in nature, to receive the beauty and commune with it, to love myself enough to slow down and just rest in bed in the afternoon for a little nap before I got back to work, you know, just getting more into that receiving. So those are some kind of examples, I would say. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. Cause you're right. So many women, like myself included, are just so much, go-getters and, driven by business and whatever else. But it's so fun to slow down and be so grateful. I think that gratitude is, before we meet somebody or with anything we're manifesting, having that gratitude and knowingness that it's already done, which is what I'm hearing from you too. It's like, hey, I'm almost ready for you. Just thanks for waiting. Like, he's right on the horizon.
Yeah.
He'll be there in a minute. Just give me a minute. I'm almost there. And what were you, 4 years of being on the site, Gavin? What were you feeling on your side?
Well, my dialogue,
Gosh darn
my
it.
dialogue was with the invisible, with the spirit, because I was asking the spirit to work with me to bring this prayer forward. And so I would be saying things like, Spirit, this is taking an awfully long time, 4 years. And I probably wrote to 50 women in that time because I was selective, and I dated 2 women for 3 months each, rich women, but not a match. So, but Spirit kept saying, we got this. This takes a little bit of coordination. We need you to trust our timing. And then a couple months before I met Jill on Joy, I realized that I was living my life as if I was unhappy until my partner showed up. And then I saw that and I went, that's not going to work. That's foolish. That is foolish. So I just really went into, I love my life. I love myself, and I've been doing spiritual psychological work for 45 years. So I knew how to do that. But my prayer was so strong that there was a pining, there was a loneliness, but I didn't want it to actually overrun my life. So I moved for the last couple of months before Joy and I connected into being more grateful for what the life I had, while still owning my prayer and still talking to Spirit, and Spirit saying, we've got this, we're coordinating this. And I must tell you, Spirit not only followed through, what we have is so far beyond what I asked for. I'm stunned, and it's almost a year. What we have together in our compatibility, most of all, but also the depth of our love, you put those together. I mean, it's I have to keep working on receiving all of the bounty that's come in. So I'm very grateful that I had the prayer that I had, and I'm grateful that I asked Spirit for its assistance.
It sounds like for both of you that it's even better than you expected.
Totally. Yeah, maybe more than I thought could be possible, or in ways that I didn't even know I wanted. I mean, so Gavin's been giving me a lot of massages lately, and he's loving it. It's like a new and different thing. I didn't put that on my profile, but wow, what a bonus, right? It's really loving giving me body work, and I've got some areas of my body that need it, I mean, yeah, but I think one thing we both really learned after we met each other, and we just kind of were stunned, because we did get together here in Mount Shasta for 5 days, and it stretched out to 12. But what we learned is compatibility is so important. I mean, because it's easy to love. I think that we can love a lot of people, but it doesn't mean we're compatible and they're the one that we're going to spend and create a life with. And so we have the same vision of our life. We want the same things. We have a similar diet. What else? You have the list.
We like to sleep without clothes on. That's really important. We like to go to bed early and get up early.
We love nature. We both love being athletic, which actually is something that you've grown
into more. I was really athletic when I was young. Now I'm doing we work out together at the gym vigorously 3 times a week. And we go to yoga with a master teacher 3 times a week. And we do swimming and hiking here in Mount Shasta. And I fell in love, Jill, with Mount Shasta. Just hook, line, and sinker, just like my feelings for Jill. So I've been transported into a new, I say Jill, I keep calling you Jill. All right, Jill, what are we going to do together, Jill?
Past life, maybe, I don't know.
We're doing this. Well, I mean, we are. We're such advocates of spiritual singles.
Well, and as you know, Joy, look at now I'm going to call you Joy.
People
So,
do call me
Jill,
Joy by accident, so that's funny.
As you know, Jill,
Mhm.
she was facilitating the SpiritualSingles.com Conscious Singles Retreat. It was set up to be offered a couple months after we got together. I
Right.
also facilitate transformational workshops. And so she said, would you like to join? So we actually facilitated it with a couple of other facilitators last year. We loved facilitating together. We loved working with, I'll tell you why we love working with singles. And from your site in particular, is because our orientation is not only that you have a prayer for a partner, which people do, and it's very powerful. And so giving people permission to hold the prayer like we did. But it's also, we said at the beginning of the retreat, if you think you're going to have an extraordinary relationship with a partner, but you don't have one with yourself, it doesn't work that way. So during this retreat, we're going to help you go deeper in your love for yourself and open up new territory there and receiving love. And how do I receive love? And then we also focused on, when we talk about compatibility, it's like, what is it that we would like? How do we clarify that vision? And what would compatibility look like? What would we be experiencing if we had the relationship we really, really, really wanted with full permission? And we do that a lot in the retreat. Powerful retreat. And we have, as you know, we have one coming up in July of this year.
I want to add to that clarity piece and that so many people focus on what they want their partner, the list of their partner, which isn't important. But equally important is the list of how do I want to feel when I'm in this relationship. And that was my commitment, that I was going to keep following how I felt and follow the energy. And so that's why I say when somatic, it was visceral when I saw Gavin's profile, when we talked on the phone, when I heard his voice, it was like, oh my goodness, this feels good. By the way, Gavin was 30 pounds heavier than he is now when we met.
Wow.
And I remember, I think that's a beautiful story. Before we met in person, this is the kind of honesty and vulnerability. Here's an example of the honesty and vulnerability we had.
I told her, I said, look, there's before we meet, I feel insecure about something. I feel insecure about how I look. I feel insecure that you may not like how I look. So I just want to tell you up front in advance. At that point, I had lost 30 pounds. But I still had weight to lose, and I've lost 30 since then. But I took a risk, and that's a lot of what we do in our relationship is we're really vulnerability and being honest about our humanity is really important. So it was my first risk, and she received it beautifully because she talked to me. She goes, I see your beauty, and I understand that this feels insecure to you, but the primary thing I'm looking for is who you are, and you speak to me and who you are, so we can move ahead. And, for me, that was a big deal to be able to say all that versus not say it and have that be a strain between us. That would have been undermining the very courtship that we started.
Exactly. Well, I want to hit a few things. You guys just said a whole bunch of important things right there, that the feeling is so important because I've, again, in my newsletters, I've been writing this for years, that it's how somebody makes you feel is more important than how they look, right? And
or how much money they have, or any of these things
right?
matter. Yes.
Yeah. Because if you're with them and you feel, however you want to feel, whether it's safe and happy and loved and excited and connected.
Yes, please.
And turned on, right? I mean, everything. We want it all, and we can have it all. And I think that's a super, super important point that I just wanted to note there. And also the being honest up front, because it goes hand in hand, right? And I think a lot of people are insecure about, oh, I'm carrying some extra weight. That's a super common thing, especially
Yeah.
these days. And so I think it's really important to have photos that show you your whole body, exactly honest, accurate photos, a good headshot and at least one full body shot to show.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like, yeah, so I'm a little heavy right now. That's me. I'm an awesome person. And just put yourself out there confidently and know that the soul recognition, which
Yeah.
is, Joy didn't care about the 30 extra pounds. She saw your soul, and that's what she was attracted to. And you're probably a good looking guy with 30 extra pounds too. Like who gives a shit? Like, that's not a big deal. But regardless, it's just, that soul. Like I like to, look in someone's eyes, like even in their photos. And our souls remember each other. And then when you hear the voice, right, that's more.
Yeah. Yeah. And our first Zoom call where we were seeing each other physically, operating in real time, shared for 2 hours. It was
Wow.
very, very rich.
I
And
bet.
on for longer. But I remember, Jill, getting off of the phone and going to sleep that night. I don't know why I remember it so, but it was a moment. I was lying on my side and I had my hands over like this by my head. And I had my hands this far apart, and there was an energy between them. And the
Ooh.
energy was soft. And I can connect with it now. It was joy. It was joy had entered into me and was in my energy field. I
Ooh.
felt her before, but after we had that call and we had that kind of real-time rapport, it's been there ever since. And yes, I do think that we try to take care of our space together by risking being transparent when we're vulnerable. And it does bring us closer and closer all the time.
And that starts really with the profile. It really does. And self-honesty. I had to get very honest with myself. But it's like I just had what I wanted to feel, besides everything you said, adored, safe, connected, inspired, natural, comfortable, honest. Because, and this might be something women experience more. I think so. There's a wanting to please. There's a holding back the voice sometimes. There was for me that I didn't want to let someone down, my partner. And so actually the second Zoom,
like putting up a perfect front kind of thing,
yeah,
right?
not just like
withholding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get up 2 times in the middle of the night to go pee. Sorry,
Yep.
whatever it might be, and we had a really fun second. It was on the phone. I requested our second live interaction be on the phone.
You did.
Yeah, I did. Because why?
And that didn't know, and Gavin, that didn't turn you off that she was.
No, because she told me why. She said, I feel like on a phone call, I feel like I can be with me inside while I'm with you. That helps me be closer to you or helps me get to know you. So it was a sincere request for a very particular reason. And I'm a psychotherapist for 40 years. A lot of my clients want to have sessions over the phone for the very same reason. It can be intimate in a way that the video and the social thing kind of can be a detraction or distraction.
Yeah, it took away the visual, and also it allowed me to get off my computer on my phone, lay outside on the grass.
Oh yeah, you were
right? Because it was June and beautiful, and we could just have an interaction with our voices, and we played a game. We took turns asking any question that we both were going to answer.
Okay, I like it. Yeah.
And it was a way to ask some of the questions I wanted to screen deeper before we made a commitment to get together in person. I mean, why not? Let's talk about some of the important grounded things.
Yeah, because why waste your time? If
No, exactly.
either of you, especially when you have to travel, it's so important to screen and
Yeah,
ask those key questions
yeah,
before you take the time and energy and money to go meet each other.
right.
Yeah. And even though I had the visceral feeling and Gavin did, and we felt the soul recognition, we still have personalities, we still have doubts, and we still are living on the earth, and we have peculiar ways of living our lives or choices we make around health that we wanted to just make sure we line up, or opinions or preferences, right? So that's, we got to talk about some of those more difficult topics a little bit before we met in person. And then we just kept going throughout. Any question that came up about our past, money, politics, anything we wanted, we would just ask. And the other one had, well, we shared because we love being real and transparent, and we got to really know ourselves and each other.
One of those questions I remember, Jill, it was,
oh yeah,
I said, Joy, if you're triggered in our relationship and you're really having a difficult time, how can you educate me about how I might best support you during the time?
Yeah.
I meant, because in my dating, even in my life with two wives, I know it's easy to say we're spiritual, but boy, when we get triggered with our own unconscious patterns, that's often when I find out how spiritual someone is, because do they have the capability to go to a place that's hurt, and can they bring their heart to the place that hurts, and can they own the hurt? And I know enough. It's so easy in relationship to just project it onto the other person, which basically just ends the relationship unless people can get past that. So we both have a lot of experience and a desire to own and work through our own issues that get highlighted by the relationship or triggered by our partner. That's how we grow the most, even though it's scary, comfortable. That's the heart of aside from our love and our compatibility, our willingness to actually work our process and grow from the relationship, because that's how relationships are designed. Because I've worked with couples for 40 years. I know it.
Yeah. It's that mirror thing, right? You come together and it's, there's some shit there. I got to deal with that. I got to deal with that. And if you don't get into the relationship, it's easy to be alone, right? That's easy.
Right.
Friends can trigger it sometimes, which is helpful, but a relationship, especially when you're living together, it's going to come up.
Yeah. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to run.
But that's why I agree. Like, that's the point of a relationship, plus just all the wonderfulness of a relationship, right? And when you get through the majority of that, and you guys are both super evolved and have been done so much personal growth in your lives, but it's just a good point that you still even had some, right?
Oh yeah. This morning. But what's really cool is because we're really willing to do that level of work when it shows up. We don't let much water pass under the bridge.
It's quick.
We address it. So then we do spend the most of our time where we're getting along well.
Yeah, we really do. I mean, we have, as all of us have, different friends and have been in those relationships that are a constant like triggering of unresolved wounds. And I would say, nah, it doesn't have to be that hard.
Yeah.
Not be that hard. Love, compatibility, and your own evolution. You bring those three together and it can actually be quite fun. So it becomes a welcoming of triggers, because every time there's a trigger,
if you approach it honorably and with vulnerability, and now we mentioned we have a singles retreat coming up, and we're facilitating that, co-facilitating that, Jill. We'll be talking about this because, yes, we are very skillful at that, but it's still vulnerable. It's still scary. It's still not easy.
And it can still be reactive.
We can train people how to learn how to have a context that says, wait, a good relationship doesn't mean we're in balance all the time. We're always getting along. There's no relationship like that. It doesn't happen that way. So what do we do when we do get triggered? Because we will get triggered.
Yeah. It reminds me of a guy I dated way back when, and he was the coolest because he taught me, because I I would notice something about him that maybe was a little off. And so I'd kind of say, hey, have you noticed this or that? And a lot of guys would have gotten defensive, like, I'm or whatever. But he would be like, oh my God, thank you. That was great. I want to look at that, heal it, fix it, get right to it. It was like, wow, it shocked me because I was in my early 20s at the time, and to have a guy that young and be that excited about learning something that I pointed out was just like, wow. And that's the extreme of it, right? It's like, wow, thank you so much. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then for you to have the reference point of being able to, I can actually talk to this man about what I'm experiencing without walking on eggshells.
Yes.
There's safe space here.
And I can do it too. Like you could tell me and I can be like, oh man, thank you. That's great. And it's like not taking it personally, because I think we have been trained by society to be embarrassed. And if we're not perfect, then that's like, oh, we're falling, especially in the spiritual world, we're spiritual teachers and guides, coaches, and whatever we are. It's like, if you have something wrong, you should be embarrassed about that. But I like his attitude better. It's like, oh, it's just so much. So I love it. It's so healing and positive.
Well, it is, because it's unconscious. We really can't see it.
Yeah.
We can't see it. The person sees it, go, oh, now I see what you're saying. I couldn't see that before.
Yeah. I was doing this or that, or, oh man, that would be annoying. I'm sorry. Let me change that behavior or whatever, if you want to, or maybe you like it and you go, oh, I kind of like that. Or, maybe we're not compatible. So Joy, I liked what you said. You said, love, compatibility, and evolution, was it?
Your own personal evolution. And what we're talking about here is that refinement of our character and our own spiritual growth.
Yeah.
So to have a partner who's my ally in awakening, right, is such a blessing.
Yeah.
And that we both know that our relationship is going to give us an opportunity to see our own reaction, to take more responsibility and stop projecting. But also to be in the kind of relationship where we do have permission, and we will ask each time, can I offer an observation?
Beautiful.
As much as possible. I think that we do.
Yeah, it's because sometimes they say, well, yes, but I'm not feeling a little unsettled right now. Can we talk about that later? And they mean it. Can we talk about that later? Yes.
Yeah.
Hold that thought till later.
I want to hear it, but not right now. I got to kind of find my balance or get grounded. By the way, when he asked me, how can you support me when I'm triggered? I think I said, it will depend each time. I will do my best to be able to offer you in the moment, but if I get really triggered, I might just need a little space, and it might not be more than 10 minutes. It could be an hour, but I'll communicate what I need. And I know for myself that breath, nature, grounding, getting back. Just the other day, I was off balance. I was a little bit off. I don't even remember the situation. An hour later, I just went, I meditated, I was with myself. An hour later, I came downstairs and we were laughing, right? Like it was a recovery. It was knowing. So sometimes it was that. But sometimes when I get triggered, I just need a hug. Touch is important. That was a great question you asked. And it's really a really great question to ask someone you're dating.
It really is. Well, and I like that I might have tried to like figure out, well, what would I need? And instead, I like that you were really, it might be different every time. I don't know. And I like that you were able to get in touch with that and share that, because I don't know if everybody would realize that so easily. So I think that's great too. And that, Gavin, you were okay with that. As long as she communicates with you, just let me know.
Right.
What you
need. Previous relationships where they would break down was in the area of psychological maturity. Unconscious patterns would get triggered by one or both of us, and we weren't able to walk it through to the other side. So even in my profile, I wrote that what I'm looking for is a partner who recognizes that a deeply loving relationship will trigger each partner's unresolved issues. And there's skill and there's compassion in meeting that together and growing closer. It was like my shot across the bow that said, this is the real game, and I want the real game.
Yeah, yeah. You wanted someone who could meet you where you were.
I did. And
exactly.
She's my teacher. We teach each other. I follow her. She follows me. It's really great to have a mutual ally where it's not just one's a teacher and one's a student.
Exactly. I keep getting goosebumps with certain things you guys say. I love it. And I've always seen relationships as two balloons going up in this together, but one might rise a little bit more. But instead of like the other one pulling the string down, it's like,
Right.
no, come up, and you kind of pull each other up. And it's a collaboration in a way too. And one might, oh, I learned this and I learned that, and you can share. And it's beautiful when it works that way, and when both people are open to it and not, all judgy or worried or whatever. It's just like,
Yeah, we
it's
trust
like
each
letting
other.
the ego go too, a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure. And that up is up in more love. It's not always up in excitement and happiness as much as just up in more expansiveness, more self-acceptance. And it might look like a groan or a grunt, and it might look like whatever the release is, and giving each other we give each other a lot of emotional freedom too.
We do. I mean, if she happens to get triggered and get angry, or I do, we can actually tell her that. Say, man, I'm so angry with you right now. Anger is a healthy emotion if it's expressed constructively, but destructively, it just end things overnight. So I love offering the freedom and the safety.
How does the other one take it when you say, I'm so angry at you? What's a good response?
The thing is we both know that that's false when we say it. It's like a part of us, right? Like, I'm so mad at you, but I know it's not you, but I'm mad right now. It's almost like that's how we do it. So but honestly, it's been more, in our experience, not aimed at each other. That's my experience of our relationship. It's like, I'm just angry at this technology, or I'm so frustrated about something at work. And instead of like holding it in and pretending that everything's okay and it's all going to work out, well, I know it's going to be okay and it's all going to work out, but there's a part of me who right now doesn't, right? So we let that loose. We have permission in our home
to be fierce.
To be fierce. Things emote and release, and we know we're letting them go so they don't become constrictions in the body or extra weight in the body, or whatever it might be, because it will become a physical condition if we don't learn to move with the energy and the passion that's present, which sometimes then fuels on the other side of it, the solutions arise,
I actually get excited when she gets angry at me. I'm not masochistic, but I am so grateful she's being real. Or when she says, there's something I want to tell you and I'm scared, I go, this is my woman. This is who I'm with. Because she's really willing. And she's now got the freedom, and she takes more and more advantage of it all the time. She hasn't had it before.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's really so good. We laugh a lot. I think that's a sign of being on the right track, to laugh.
Yeah.
And talked about how I feel. So one of it was like, how am I in thinking about your beloved? How do I want to feel with them? I think another interesting piece is how your beloved will bring out, we've been talking about the worst in you because it will bring out the wounds, but your beloved, your soul match will bring out the best. Gavin has brought out the best in me. That wanting to be more feminine, be confident, believe in myself more. You've brought out so many aspects of myself, my creativity. My persona is just shifting and people notice. I've had so many friends say, I haven't seen you this happy in years, Joy. You are happy. It is just like So I wanted to bring the flip side. You
Yeah.
know, a relationship will bring out the unresolved and the triggers, and that's the sandpaper, but it's also, how do you make pearls, right? Isn't it sand? Isn't the sand, and then they get polished and it becomes a pearl, and that's what it feels like. But we also bring out each other's gifts. I mean, so much has happened for Gavin since we've been together. It's incredible.
I mean, I could just start weeping, Jill. I mean, the man that I am and that I get to experience me as me while I'm with Joy. I like this man. This man is like, he's bankable, he's safe, he's fun. I see my strengths more than I ever did. I think that's one of the most glorious things that comes out of a relationship, in addition to the healing and the enjoyment of living life together, is I actually am able to open up to who I am in glorious new ways and bring that to her. We talked about massage. I love touch. I love bringing my love through touch, and I love Joy. So to be able to give her a 2-hour massage, we do it often. I've convinced her now that I probably maybe like it more than she does.
Wow.
It's not like I'm depleted when I'm done. No. It's an avenue. It's like love me.
Yeah.
So, and I've never had that with a partner. I've never had a partner that receives like Joy. Oh, Joy, you and your femininity and your sensuous nature and the way you receive is just, it's spellbinding to me. I'm entranced.
And it turns you on too, it sounds like. Which is great.
Yeah. And all of this is also, it looks like the way it's going, Jill, is we want to do work with couples, and we want to work with singles, and we've got some expanded ways that we can work with your group that we want to talk to you about. And there's a love that we have for this area, because powerful, and a lot of people want to open to something that's an answer to their prayers, and they want to know how to do it.
Yeah. It's so important this time in the world too, with all the craziness going on, having a partner, somebody that is your rock. And
That's right.
that kind of love, I'm
Right.
getting goosebumps again, is just, it's such a gift. It's so beautiful, and it's so needed right now in the whole world. So I mean, that's why I started the websites 24 years ago. It's like, I knew that people needed an avenue to meet each other, because, you would have never met probably, maybe,
No way.
maybe at a workshop or something, but
Thank you.
probably don't go to that many workshops anymore, right? If you're like me, you've been to most of them. It's like, well, maybe if something's really new and different, I'll go, but but yeah, it's just so important and needed. So I'm so glad that you guys came together, and you're setting that example of how wonderful it is, and how healing and loving and growing and evolving it is, and what is a great relationship. You're setting that example.
And I'm so glad you said that. You so queued me up, because I wanted to say, it doesn't look like Gavin and Joy. It looks like you and your beloved. And so that the clarity, how I feel, the clarity of the person I'm looking for, the clarity of the kind of relationship. So it can look a lot of ways. I know couples that live on the same land, and one has a yurt and one has a cabin, and that's what they want to do. Or people who have 2 homes and spend a month apart, or, there's so many ways to play. And I think inside of us, what brings us joy is the way we want to play. Yeah. And so Gavin and I are combining our work, or living together. We work out together. We're together a lot. We have our own lives. But, because I do a lot of women's work, so that, but
that helps.
But that's how we're doing it.
Right. And it's not necessarily the only way to do it.
So many ways to do it.
I also have a very small story, if I may, about the human side. As an example, when I first came for 5 days, and that opened up to 12 days, one day she walks into where I had my suitcase. We're going to go for a walk. I had my suitcase open, and she goes, "So, do you have any shorts?" Now, when she asked that question, Jill, I had a choice point right there. I could have made something up very cleverly and quickly and adroitly, but I knew I did not have any shorts. And I knew I did not have any shorts because I was embarrassed because my legs were white and I didn't judge them my entire life as not attractive. Now she's asking me, do you have shorts?
I
So
love
right,
it.
I knew it's almost like the altar of the relationship. I needed to sacrifice my ego. And I turned to her and I said, I don't, and I have to confess to you something. And I told her all about it. And she then began loving my legs, which
Oh,
actually are more beautiful than I realized because I judged them for so long. She
oh,
helped me go and buy shorts that she liked, that I liked. And then I started being out in the sun in ways that I hadn't because I was hiding.
yeah, yeah, sure.
So that area now is free. That area is free. We love to go to clothing optional spas and retreats, and we like to be out. And it's just, I love that. And that's a whole other area that's opening up.
Wow,
Ah,
wow. I love it. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that you guys have a little announcement, like where is your relationship now? Has anything come up lately?
We are getting married,
Yeah.
which is what we both wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
really wanted that, to get married and have a long-term and solid, clear, monogamous relationship. And we both wanted the same thing, and we're getting married.
September 22nd. So it'll be 15 months after we met. And
Congratulations.
we both,
Thanks.
thank you. We both had the sense that this just seemed to be the direction things were going. But we also wanted to savor the courtship that we were in. And we're savoring now, being known as fiancés. And
That's fun.
we both kid around. We have to come up with new words besides husband and wife because they're just so boring. That just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do like the beloved, but even that's kind of common. I think you guys will create something new. And I did want to just again or I don't know, what am I pinpointing or whatever, highlighting, yeah. What you said, Joy, about, and another thing, I mean, we're so in alignment, it's great. Of that we create whatever kind of relationship we want. Again, I'm big on really looking at what we've been programmed over the years to believe and do and say, and instead of thinking on our own. And so I've always told people, create whatever kind of relationship you want, because it might not be what society thinks you're supposed to have. Like, I've known couples that they have a big house and one lives in one wing and one lives in the other, and they invite each other over for, to spend time and have sex and whatever, have a date night or whatever.
Yeah.
Or separate houses or the same house. It's whatever the heck you want to create. It doesn't have to be the norm. And you guys are kind of following along, more of the old school norm, which is absolutely beautiful. And it doesn't mean that that's what everybody's going to want. And I like that you pointed that out, Joy, because it's important too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no standardized version.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
My phone's, I forgot, it's blowing up here. Let me turn it on. I thought I had it. I forgot to put it on airplane mode. There we go. Okay, stop, guys.
Well, this is an exciting airplane ride we're having.
Speaking of, I bet.
It's
Well,
fun going with you too. Really fun to connect with you this way.
it really is. Is there anything else that you feel would inspire people? Like, what about Gavin? If Joy contacted you first, would that have been okay? Would you have been turned off because she was taking more of a masculine approach?
I don't take it as masculine. I take it as an evolved feminine approach. And it would have been genuine and I would have loved it. And I love when she takes initiation in different parts of our lives. Because we've got a perspective that we both have masculine and feminine inside of us, and we want it to be 100 and 100 and bring it. So there may be a time when I'm taking the lead in a traditional male way, and half an hour later, I'm crying out of insecurity and just asking to be held. So no, it wouldn't have turned me off at all, Joe.
I love it. Okay, good. just trying to think of maybe some of the questions that.
Well,
members
I want
might have.
to piggyback on that. I think what's important, it's not so much who initiates, but it's like playing tennis. If you serve, is the ball coming back? Are you
Yeah.
in a rally? But if you keep serving and there ain't no ball coming back, or
Right.
it comes back not as often as you want to really play a game of tennis, just get off the court and find another partner to play with.
Exactly. And that goes for the men too, because I've seen men that will contact someone and then they'll send 5 messages in a row. And it's like, dude, chill, wait, let her respond, calm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It's too much. And that turns women off, I know. Or,
Yeah.
and we're saying men, women, but as you know, we have all, there can be all kinds of combinations. So whoever's initiating, take it easy.
And on that note, Gavin, and he brings this up in all the singles workshops and stuff we do, he had some incredible templates of if someone did initiate and he could tell it wasn't a match, he was able to send a very loving message so that the one who had sent the initiative, the woman, she
Yeah.
felt received, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't wondering.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm the same
You guys
way
said-
when I would reach out to a woman and I would extend myself and they would no response.
It's
For
not
me,
cool.
at least, it felt important to all of my dating behaviors needed to come from a caring and an honorability. So, and I developed a template. So it was in my voice, but it was similar, just like I really appreciate you reaching out. I read your profile. And while I wish you the very best, I have a sense just intuitively that we're not a match, but I wanted to get back to you personally. And they
Yeah.
appreciated that, even though it was not easy to receive, it was better than no response at all.
Exactly. I so agree. And especially people that are new to online dating, they can get turned off when they initiate and
Right.
they put an effort into it and then someone just doesn't respond. I think that's really, it's not cool. And all they need to do is say something like that, like, gosh, thank you so much for,
Right.
I know it takes whatever, just thank them and
Right.
tell them it's not, you don't feel it's a match for whatever reason. You don't have to go into details.
That's right.
I think it's better not to. I trust my intuition. And
Yeah, I've learned to trust my intuition at this point, and that's what I wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
And I wish
Yeah.
you the best.
Right. Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah, I wish you
Yeah.
the best. And then there is a blessing. So because I think online dating, there are people who are concerned about it or think it's going to be time consuming or don't know how to do it. And it can be very pleasant, especially on Spiritual Singles or Conscious Dating Network. It is a smaller pool and it's a more, I think, kind, awake group that is, wanting to bless each other on the journey. I mean, at its best. And maybe we can even elevate and encourage more of that. Bless everyone on the site, and all the ones that reach out.
And Jill, I may not be like other men, but when women would just do a wink at me, or they'd have one of the suggested statements that you could just pick.
Yeah.
I never responded to those unless something in their profile was really profoundly, but I would have wished that they would have been forward and said, I read your profile.
Really?
Wow, touched my heart. If you want to connect, it'd be really, but when someone would just send one of those pre-suggested phrases, I never did understand that. I never did. And when I would respond, like I said, with a more caring overture, if it wasn't a match, I didn't do that when someone just did a wink, or I'd just be doing that all day. But it was someone took the time to write a personal overture to me. I can't imagine not responding to them.
Agreed. Yeah. Now we have just interested in you. And we changed something where the favorites now, the other person does not get notified. It's just for, like, if I favorite somebody, it's just for me to see. And
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And interested is specifically for the other person to see.
Yes. And the reason I like that, Jill, is because when I was looking, if I saw someone I was drawn to, but I wasn't ready to reach out, I had to have some way to save them. So if I did favored, then they wouldn't be notified of favorite. And then they're saying, well, why isn't he reaching out to me? So I was kind of stuck.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why I did it. Yeah, change that up because I had thought about it for years, and then I don't know, one day, sometimes things will, intuitively come to me and like,
Yeah.
or someone will say something and I'll look at it differently and go, yeah. Like the guy example I told you about earlier, like, yeah, that would be much better. Thank you for telling me,
Yeah.
not saying like, I know the best way to do everything. Like, no, I'm open to all kinds of, I've changed so many
Right.
things, added things on the site over the years because of member suggestions
Yeah.
that it's amazing.
Yeah.
What about just people that might be hearing this that have never tried online dating? Do you have any tips for them, Joy? Like what's like, would you say, obviously you'd say go for it, it worked for you,
Yeah.
but like maybe like getting up that courage, like how would you inspire them a little bit?
I hope this whole interview was inspiring. It's like this.
Pay attention, people.
Yeah, and it's an energy. It's also you may or may not meet your person on Spiritual Singles, but the process of getting on, or any of the sites, right? Getting on, filling out the profile is saying yes to yourself, saying yes to the universe. I'm ready. It clarifies things. And to be in that level of strength and confidence is important when entering a relationship, right? So for some people, I think you're right. It's strength, confidence, or courage. I think for some people, it's just, well, there's a lot of reasons people wouldn't do it, but it might be time. Like, oh, it's going to be time consuming. It doesn't have to be. It's put your profile, give it your best shot. You can refine it, put it up, spend an hour. And you'll get notified in your email, and you can, like Gavin, he did it efficiently, right? And sent back the thank you, not interested, trust my intuition, read your profile, wishing you the best. Yeah, don't make it a job. Let it be light, let it be more fun. Those are some things I would recommend. I do recommend. We've recommended to so many people, go for it, and then stay open, still get out and attend events that you love and enjoy, follow your heart where it leads you. You could meet them on a hiking trail a month after you went online, but I think that the going online could be initiating that prayer, if you want to call it that, or that intention.
It's like a clarion call, like, hey, I'm ready. This is saying I am ready. I'm putting myself out there and bring it on any which way it happens.
Yeah, I think that the fundamental foundation for success, and I've helped so many clients create, extraordinary relationships, is the first step is to honor the depth of your prayer for a partner. It's vulnerable to honor it when it isn't here yet, because you can be fearful it won't arrive, and you don't even have a guarantee it will arrive. But if you don't honor it, you basically just close your heart, you foreclose the chance. So if you get that where you go, I just need to acknowledge how deeply I want this. And we saw that at the retreat last year. Everybody, when they sat down in that circle, 17 people that were there, or 18, they were there because they had a yearning and a longing for a partner, and a sense that their life would be transformed if they had it. The other thing I say to people about online, particularly with Spiritual Singles, is be as authentic as you can. You're not trying to talk to all the people who will read it. Talk to the one who's your partner and your beloved. That's who you're trying to reach out to. It's kind of like fly fishing, and just be as real as you can. There's no loss in the being real. The loss gets when we start misrepresenting ourselves or hiding. Those are some of my thoughts.
And speaking of fishing, this is for the women, because there are a lot of conscious women. We go to often events and it's 3/4 women. And, here's the thing. I always have the belief that there, and I still do, there's a lot of really great men out there. So please, if you're one of the women who catch yourself saying, oh, there's no good men, or all the good men are taken, that is not true. Oh my God, is that not true? There's so many beautiful, kind, generous, evolved men that want to be with their partner.
And you may even play a part in bringing a fine man into himself, because he didn't even know it at the depth that he could. Who I am now versus a year ago, Wow. 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 It's just, the relationship is just really, it's like going from black and white to Technicolor.
Wow. The balloons going up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're both evolving as you go and getting better and better because of of the relationship and each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yourselves, yeah, it's all together. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, this feels like a good ending spot. And thank you so very much for sharing all these wonderful tips and your love and your experience. I think it's very inspiring for singles and those looking for love and those that have that strong desire. And I think it is really important that we all that are single admit to ourselves that, yes, I really do want that. It is important.
Yeah.
It takes courage to admit it. It takes bravery to admit it. No question.
Yeah.
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 And thank
Yeah.
you, Joe, for this site and the other sites you have. I mean, and because the nature of it, it doesn't even cost that much.
I
And
know.
the nature of your questions and your design, the sincerity of your heart is infused in how you've designed it and refined it all these years. And we wouldn't be together if it weren't for you, Joe.
Thank you guys. Yeah. Make me cry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Well, it's beautiful. And when, that's what makes this all worth it. All the hard work over the years is, being able to know. And I don't always get to talk to people. I hear they email me and tell me, when they remember to. And I've met people out and about that have met through the site that never had told me. They're like, oh yeah, I met my husband on your site. And I never knew about it until I happened to meet them at some event or something. And, so I just know there's even more out there that I don't know about. And this is such a treat and honor for me. I mean, Joy and I have been friends for years. And I remember when she was like, I'm going to try your site. I'm like, you should. You're going to meet somebody so fast. And in 1 month, Joy. I love it. It's so great. So anyway, but thank you guys so much. And it's been such a treat to share this with you. So
Thank you,
Pleasure.
Cheryl.
Pleasure.
happy wedding, happy marriage.
Okay. Okay.